Hello. I hope you guys can see me. Can you see me? Okay, all right. Yeah. I'm not sure if somebody can see me. I need to get a confirmation. How do I get that? How do I get it? Oh, yes. Thank you, Purnima. Good to go. Silent. Audio. Thanks, Aditya. I hope my audio is clear. All right. So it's 5:30 and let's the session begin. So namaskar. Namaskar to all of you. Such a beautiful tradition, isn't it? Just to say namaskar. A beautiful way to greet somebody, to say hello in our own typical Indian traditional way. And in the coronavirus days today, this is the safest way to greet each other. Something that we learned when we were in our childhood, and some of you would be learning it off even today. The gratitude that flows through, it's amazing. It just connects, and it's such a bliss to just say namaskar. Well, when I was a child, I got taught about this tradition of saying namaskar, and childhood for each one of us brings its own beauty, own love for it. And one of the beautiful things that I picked up when I was a child, and I still hold that very close, is reading books. And to tell you the truth, it's actually comics. I am an ardent fan of comics. The sketches that go on, the creativity that is there, it's just mind blowing. It takes me off to a different dimension. I love to connect with those. And when I sleep, I just imagine those characters popping here, popping there, popping there, popping here. And I build myself up. Well, coming to say of that, I wanted to share some of them. I still treasure today. I have some books here. I don't know how many of you would know this. Chacha Chaudhary. People in north of the country and east of the country would be very familiar with this character called Chacha Chaudhary. He is a man whose mind would work faster than the computer. At that point of time, I would not even know what a computer looks like because we didn't have Google those days. But this man taught me with his Mars friend Sabu in this side. Well, then came along a lady character called Pinky, and they used to be fascinating. I mean, if you see those colors in which they were done, this is relatively new, but it's fabulous. And as years went by, days went by, I started reading something called as Tinkle. Tinkle, which is still my favorite. Sometimes when I go for grocery without my wife knowing, I pick up a Tinkle copy and push it in because this is my savior for the whole month. I can absolutely go and read and reread them sometimes. It's fun. Supandi, Shikari Shambhu, Kalia the Crow. Some of you may know that, I'm sure. And that's like a collection, some more hidden there. So I have lots of Tinkle. When I got into school and when I started reading more, I had a good connection with my teachers in the library, and I used to pick up books. One of the earliest books that I remember is Moby Dick, the story of a whale. And this character here, he used to be a fascination for me. It's a lovely book with pictures that used to come up with, and I used to read. And there are many of them that still have a copy of it. Growing old, I grew up with Roald Dahl, the Chocolate Factory. Some of you might, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Some of you might remember that. And I'm just fascinated with the way in which Roald Dahl weaves it, and talks about it. Well, those were the days of growing up. Then came the Hardy Boys and so forth, and I started reading more of fiction, non-fiction. But my love for comics never ended. And when I grew up to being a man and working and so forth, I always treasured something called the Asterix. This book fires up the imagination of a Gaulish village in the corner of France. And I used to read them. In fact, my son, who is 12 and a half years old, has read these books back and forth, forth and back and forth, forth and back and forth, forth and back, and has got his imagination going. How can I miss Tintin? This is one of my favorites that I went on to. Tintin, the reporter, who has shared his imaginations, his detective imaginations with all of us. And it's brilliant. It's brilliant simply the way the story gets weaved. And they are like lovely. They are beautiful. And when I come back to Indian topics, apart from, of course, Tinkle and all that, I also grew up with, sorry, I forgot, The Phantom. How can I miss this? I'm sure some of you might really love this character called Phantom, Tarzan, Superman, and so forth. I used to go about, and of course, our very own Mahabharat in the form of a caricature and sketch, different volumes. This is like an amazing collection. I mean, it's so fascinating that some of my relatives actually got it hard bounded so that it remains safe, and the whole, I can still feel it, smell it. It is amazing. Well, so that's the kind of books that I've been brought up with. I've read about it. And one of the guys who really fired up the imagination and built up this whole flavor of what this comic world is, this whole thing, is a guy called Anant Pai, and his book called the Amar Chitra Katha series. I showed you Mahabharat. That is also by Amar Chitra Katha. And this is another fascinating books that Amar Chitra Katha brought. The reason why I talk about Amar Chitrakatha and Anant Pai, who's no more, I mean, that legend who passed away a few months back, he really, he really has created uh, so much of flair within the kids' generation. And today also he inspires them. His books are there. Now, as a book read, when I was given this topic, saying, what book would you read? I couldn't stop myself from saying, I want to read an Amar Chitra Katha because it is sketchy, it's colorful. I mean, just look at it. Look at it. They talk about the Panchatantras, they talk about folklore and whatnot. And I thought I will read you one of my favorite stories from this Amar Chitra Katha book, The Ancient Tales of Wit and Wisdom. There are five in one, but I'll just read one because of time. And I would love to read them more whenever there is time. Yeah. So this story that I'm going to talk about is a story of a bag of gold coins. A bag of gold coins. This is a story of a man, a very simpleton. At a time long ago when India had lots of grass, greenery, forests, and simple people. But simple people, human beings, there are lots of naughtiness there. So this is about this farmer and his wife who used to toil hard in the farmlands. And that particular year, our man had done a bumper crop. He really, really did a bumper crop. And he said, at last my labor has been rewarded. He went to the market. So where do you sell? You will go to the market and sell them, of course. And so he went to the market and sold his bumper crop. And he said he counted the money that he made there. He made 300 gold coins, 300 of them. And he said, I must not let anybody know about it. It's my good fortune. So what he did, that he put it in a bag. All his 300 gold coins, he just counted them one after the other and put them in a gold coin and took it home quietly and kept it hidden. In those days, banks never used to be there. So people used to hide them. Where? They used to hide them in their houses. So he went into the kitchen area, dug it, and quietly hid it there so that nobody could see where it is hidden. It's quiet. But just like you and I, when we happen to get four chocolates, after an hour we'll start thinking, did I get three chocolates, four chocolates, four, five? How many did I get? And what he did, he started thinking, was it 300 or was it more? Let me go and check. That's human greed, you see. So what he did was he went into the room, locked the door, and then he dug it open, pulled out this gold coin, and started counting. One, two, three, four, five, 102. Just then, who is that? Who's that? Who's there? And what he did was he took the gold coin back. Shucks, somebody has come. Somebody's there to steal me. An outsider at my door. I must hide the money. And hurriedly, he took the gold coin and looked. Ah, there is a pot there. Let me keep it in the pot. And kept it in the pot. And then he walked out. Whom does he find at the door? It is his friend. He finds his friend and says, his friend said, I'm on my way to the market. Thought you might like to join me. Would you say? Oh, I certainly would. He got all ready, wore her out, stepped out of the house, and then he said to his wife, looking at his wife, he said, I will be back by noon. Can you keep the lunch ready? And he walks out. In the whole process, he forgot to tell his wife about that pot and the sack of gold coins. And he walks out. His wife goes back into the kitchen. The first thing she realizes that there is no water. There is no water. What to do? What to do? And then she picks up the pot Where does she pick up? She picks up the pot from the top and says, "Ah, that's a pot. I'll go and fill it up." She walks out of the house. The moment she steps out of the house, she says, "My husband will be upset if he knows that I stepped out. When he returns, he will not find me. He will be upset." Just as she sees that, she sees a butcher passing by. The local butcher, you see, that's a community, so they know each and the other people. So they see the butcher there. And she says, "Ah, there comes the butcher. He's always helpful. Let me ask him." And says, "Will you fetch me some water?" "By all means, give me the pot," says the butcher. And as the butcher walked, and what does he hear? Starts hearing some jingling. The moment he hears the jingling, he looks at the pot, removes. What's this? A bag. Gold coins. I have made money. It is my day. What shall I do? Gold coins. How lucky am I? And he says, "I will give a feast to my friends with this money." And the first thing he does is he throws the pot away. Who cares about the water? He throws the pot away. And then he goes to the market and buys a big fat goats and starts walking back with his money in his hand. Then he all of a sudden, "Oh, what a fool I am! Carry the bag openly. I must hide it immediately." So what he did was he took the money bag and stuffed it into the mouth of the goat, in the goat. And then he walks. As he walks, he meets his son and he says, "Take this goat home. I will have some work in town. I'll come back." And then he gives a word of caution. "I have paid 2 gold coins for that goat. See that you take good care of him." "I will, father, I will." And our son happily walks back home. As he walks back home, the farmer actually meets up with him and says, "Hey, that's a fine goat. Will you sell it to me?" "How much will you offer?" says the son. "I'll give you 3 gold coins. The goat is yours. Take it." Now the son doesn't remember anything. No, doesn't know. Father didn't say anything. So the son gave it away. "Father will be pleased with this deal. I made a profit." The farmer reaches home with the fat goat now. He comes back. The wife says, "Ah, what a plump goat." "Yes, indeed. To give a feast to my friends. Tied up in the backyard." He says to his wife very, very passionately, "Look, he's got 300 gold coins and now he's got a goat." He goes into the kitchen. "Oh, my pot is gone." "Where is the pot which I kept here?" he asks his wife. "I gave it to the butcher to fetch water and he hasn't come back. He is not likely to ever again. I had kept a bag of gold coins in the pot." "Oh, why didn't you tell me?" his wife says. "All my hard earned money gone." The wife consoles and says, "Don't grieve. Nobody can deprive us of what is rightfully ours." "Perhaps you're right," says the farmer and says, "I think I will sacrifice the goat and invoke God's blessing." He goes out to the backyard and cuts the goat. Comes back excited. "Hey, my bag of coins, my treasure, I found it. It was in the goat's belly. The butcher must have stuffed it down the animal's throat. I bought it from his son. He was so excited. I've learnt my lesson. Henceforth, I will carry the money in myself. I will keep it in my where on the side, and then I will go everywhere." The next day, the farmer had to go out on business to the market. He kept his bag and he jingled around. He jingled around. It was a hot day. As he was reaching back his home, he felt that he should have a shower. Where? In the whole pond. So he reaches the pond, he takes off his clothes, also keeps the bag on the side, and takes a shower. Just as he was taking a dip into the water, He finds nobody around. But then somebody finds him. Who's it? It is the shepherd. He saw that and he saw a bag with gold coins. This is my lucky day. And he runs away. Our man was happily swimming. And then the shepherd who was going there finds that some people on horse. At that point of time, there were a lot of horses, you see. Not today. Horses, somebody galloping. Oh, they are here to snatch my bag. Let me throw it. And he throws it into a well that was nearby. And the bag goes down. Ah, man, after having a swim, got out of it and said, ah, my bag again gone. Second time. Oh dear, I lost it. He couldn't help this time. He started walking back. And he was started walking but dejected. There was a gush of wind that came by. He had a turban on his head that flew off. And trying to catch the turban fell into the well, and our man stumbled pachak, into the well. Thankfully, the well was not deep enough. And he found, hey, this seems to be my treasure. He found the gold bag. It's my treasure. I found it. He somehow climbs out of the well and he goes back. As he was going back, he went to the market. This was a little later in the evening. He went to the market and he finds a shepherd, his friend. Shepherd was his friend too. He asked, you look unhappy. What's the matter? I had hidden a bag of gold coins and it has disappeared. The farmer thinks, then the bag I picked from the well must be his. Poor fellow, he's so worried. Your money is safe, he says. I found the bag and I thought the one I had lost on the river bank, it was mine. Come to my home, I'll give it to you. Such a pious fellow, see? So he takes him home and gives him the bag and says, take this. And the shepherd fellow says, I hope you soon find your bag. Look at that fellow. The shepherd walks home and says, what a fool. He couldn't recognize his bag also. What a fool, man. The moment he reaches the house, what he does was he takes out this whole money out and pulls out a hollow stick and starts putting them one into the other. All the 300 gold coins, he puts it into that and throws the bag away. He says, this is my staff. I will carry it everywhere. And our man carries it. But if you're not fortunate, if you're not earned it, it never stays with you, see. So next day, what happened was our man was trying to walk around the river bed. And he tripped. As he tripped, the hand slipped and the bamboo fell into the water. Ah, my bamboo! By the time he could say that, the bamboo had floated. Fortunately, a farmer was actually swimming on the other end of that. And he saw the staff coming by. He picks it up and says, ah, a staff? I think I might find some use of it. He holds it. After the bath, happily walks back home. And he goes back home and says to his wife, I found a staff. So his wife says, yes, I think there is no wood for fire. Why don't you cut it off and bring it? I will burn it and make some cooking today. Yes, we can use this staff I found. I'll cut it for you. And he goes, takes his axe and one shot. What do you think will happen? Aha. The moment the axe falls, the stick breaks into two. And what comes out? Flying through that, jingling, 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 is the gold coins. And he says, thrice have I lost my coins and thrice have I regained them. His wife says, glory to the Lord. It was such a lovely ending for them. He realizes that it is his money, he can hold it safe. So, what do you think the moral of the story is? What does Anant Pai say at the end? What does the folklore say at the end? It says, nobody can deprive us from what is rightfully ours. Deprive means take away something from us. So it is ours. It will come back. Just have faith, just have trust. Well, there are four more in this some other time, and it is a lovely read to do to you guys. I hope that you had pleasure. Read books, read comics. It fires up your imagination. It will fire up yourself to read more and more and more. Ensure that your mom and dad keep supplying, 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 like I do for myself before I give to my son. So with that, I'm signing off. Siddharth Satpathy here. I hope you liked it. And ta-da, bye-bye. Yeah. Wait. Don't go away. There is something else in store. Aditya auntie is going to come back and tell you another beautiful, fascinating story in some time. That's for you guys. So don't sign off. Log in back again in hardly 2 or 3 minutes. She's waiting on the other side to meet you, lovely people. Till then, take care, stay safe.